in 1973, Gockwillam and Barnard held every portfolio for 2 days and what they did is they rewrote all the statutes, and they also put in there the Submerged Land and Seas Act, submerging the land so that we're all on the holy sea of commerce, and they also put us into Unidroit. And what they did is they took out the Crown out of all the acts, all the statutes, and they replaced that with their counterfeit lookalike.
So it's the 1st of January 2026. We're inside Centennial Park. This is a Federation monument, and there's a small gathering here today to celebrate 125 years since Federation on the 1st of January 1901. So yeah, we'll just have a listen. There's going to be a number of speakers, and it's a reasonably small crowd, but let's see what happens.
So they never got to play it, and I think they might have even had a symphony. I don't know, it's supposed to be raining today, but someone amazingly said for it to not rain. I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, it was me. Thanks. Okay.
And delay while the rest of the coming around. Couldn't hear a word.
Oh, thanks.
You have to repeat everything again.
Yeah, and people don't talk because I'm recording him so we can put it on the pages, alright? So that was it.
Beethoven, but I do know that he got his inspiration from nature. And that is certainly something that's an excellent thing to do. And as the Commonwealth came together, all of us, we should see that in the original people of this land, who were fluid. They were never set in stone. They moved with nature and continue to do so. So welcome everyone, thanks for coming. I'd just like to read out the proclamation which was read out 125 years ago by the Queen. A proclamation. Victoria, whereas by an Act of Parliament passed in the 63rd and 64th years of our reign in a duel, an act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, it is enacted that it shall be lawful for the Queen, with the advice of the Privy Council, to declare by proclamation that on and after a day therein appointed, not being later than 1 year after the passing of this Act, the people New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland and Tasmania, and also if Her Majesty is satisfied that the people of Western Australia have agreed thereto, of Western Australia shall be united in a federal commonwealth under the name of the Commonwealth of Australia. And whereas we are satisfied that the people of Western Australia have agreed thereto accordingly, we therefore by and with the advice of our Privy Council have thought fit to issue this our Royal Proclamation, and we do hereby declare that on and after the 1st day of January 1901, the people of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland, Tasmania and Western Australia shall be united in a federal commonwealth under the name of the Commonwealth of Australia, given at our court at Balmoral this 17th day of September in the year of our Lord 1900 and in the 64th year of our reign. God save the Queen. And that's all I wanted to share. And there might be some other people who want to say something. I guess we're expecting maybe a few other people to turn up and also want to share what they have to say. 125 years on, it's great to see that the people have our written constitution in their hearts and in their soul. Let's never forget it, and let's never lose it. Let's respect it, and make it all as interpret it as positively and as kindly as we possibly can.
Is it the year of Jubilee, 2025?
125.
No, it's the 25th Jubilee year, that's right, 100%.
That's an incredible alignment.
So it finishes on the 6th of January
Wow, that's an amazing alignment.
2026. It finishes 6th of January 2026. Jubilee year. Look it up.
Wow.
A lot can be said about this building. We'll talk a lot about that later. It was built here in 1988 and it went over the 6 stones, the original stones, which are represents the states' constitutions which were in place. It's up to us to come up and imagine what it would like, what we would like it to be, and what we'd like to see in the future. How is it going to be in when we celebrate the 150th? Are there any ideas? I think it's actually really interesting and good, but we're together. We can do all of that, and so yeah. I'd really like to sort of share the mic with others who want to talk and try and make this about everyone who's here and come to see.
There should be a garden around here, like a botanical garden.
The park's got a few things. It's, there's a few things, but sure. Okay, well, Keith, would you like to say?
Thank you, Charles. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. This is to the 125th anniversary of the Constitution. The Constitution is the founding document of our nation. It's when the colonies of the Commonwealth, the people of those colonies became states, and the people of those states all agreed to unite in an indissoluble federation. The Commonwealth is the people. It's not a geographical location. It's the people coming together and uniting into a nation. And the document, the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, 1900 Imperial, that was gazetted on the 1st day of January 1901, is the founding document that that started this nation. And
Wasn't it the 9th of July the previous year, and then it was proclaimed on the 1st of January 1981?
yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, sorry. It was the 1st of January.
Now, I said the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900, which was gazetted on the first day of January 1901.
Okay, thank you.
And that document was the founding document for the Commonwealth of Australia. The Commonwealth is it's not a legal entity. What it is a moral entity. It's done under natural law. It's virtually a trust. You'll know that the public servants of the Commonwealth have a fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty comes from a trust, and that's exactly what the Constitution is. The people were the settlers of that trust. The Crown was the trustee, and the people are the beneficiaries of that trust. And it's not a legal entity. And so when this is done under natural law, universal laws and principles, it was done humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God, which you can read in the preamble. And it was the people who united to form the Commonwealth, and that only came about after a referendum, and there only needed to be 50,000 people who disagreed about having the referendum for there not to be the Commonwealth. And fortunately, there was the referendum passed, so it had the blessing of the people, and the people were agreed to unite into an indissoluble federation. So it cannot be dissolved. The only way that it can be dissolved is by the people through a referendum, which has never been held. It's still there. It's still the law of the land. It is still the authoritative document that any office of the Commonwealth must be under to have any authority whatsoever. And any office that is not under that Constitution has no authority, and anybody in that office has about as much authority as to tell you what to do as a McDonald's employee. Because the Constitution is the law of the land, and every office must be able to trace its authority to its source. And if it cannot trace its source of authority to the Constitution, then it is an unlawful office that is impersonating a Commonwealth office. And anybody who is in one of those offices and impersonating is privately liable for that impersonation. Now the Commonwealth is it's a moral person, and it's done under natural law. The natural law is the law of nations. In the law of nations, this is not verbatim, but it virtually says that we're all here on earth to perfect ourselves individually. And when we come into a community, such as a tribe, a nation, whatever, then we all agree on what laws it is that we are going to live under as a community, and write that into a constitution. And the chief or the sovereign of that nation is there to guide the people according to that constitution as a whole to perfection. And that's that's in the Law of Nations. The Law of Nations is mentioned in the American Constitution. It says that we will abide by the Law of Nations, and this was the Law of Nations is written under natural law. Since 1648, at the Peace of Westphalia, the Holy Roman Empire came up with a different concept to this natural law. And what they did at the Peace of Westphalia in 1648 was they came up with the concept of belligerent sovereign states. These belligerent sovereign states, which are legal entities or corporations, were given authority by the Holy Roman Empire to declare war and to treaty, which under natural law could only be done by the sovereign between each nation. And by doing this, they virtually created their own world or their own reality. And from 1648, what happened was it has evolved into the corporate governments that we have around the world today. These corporate governments that we have around the world today are member states of the Holy Roman Empire version, and they are not under natural law, they are under Caesar. Caesar makes the law. And these have if any of these, to be in the United Nations, you have to be a member state of the United Nations, and the Commonwealth of Australia is not a member state of that. It's Australia, which is virtually a counterfeit look-alike of the Commonwealth, which they created, and that is the member of the United Nations. So we have two different Commonwealths operating. There's the original organic Commonwealth, made as a moral person, and we have a counterfeit look-alike, which is a sovereign state, which is a counterfeit copy of the Commonwealth, which was brought in, the final nail of the coffin was virtually brought in 1973, and what it was that when people went in, the people of the Commonwealth were offered by Gough Whitlam if they voted him in, then they would get Medibank. Voted him in, and everybody went and signed up for Medibank. What they did is they entered into a private agreement with a private corporation and came out of the original Commonwealth and into their political society. This political society, you can read where this political society is in their International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, that the peoples, which is what the people of the Commonwealth were, are free to choose their political association. And by choosing to go into their political society, they came out of the autonomous community known as the Commonwealth of Australia and into their political society. When they did this, they are coming in the International Civil and Political Rights under Section 2, you can read that when this happens, that the people are agreeing to virtually share their resources with the rest of the world. And so they have taken the resources of the Commonwealth and say that they're distributing it around the world. And the only thing is that in Section 2 it also says that this is without prejudice. And without prejudice means that you can change your mind, you can revisit it, you can come out of it at any time. And so the people of the Commonwealth now are left with a choice. They can be either in this political society, or they have a choice. They can return back to the original Commonwealth. And because it's without prejudice, that means that they can't stop you from doing it. Everybody has freedom of will and freedom of choice of what world it is that they live in, or what community it is that they live in. And if they choose to remain in the political society, that is their choice. We cannot change that, but everybody else has the right to come back into the original Commonwealth. And when you come back into the original Commonwealth, you are the absolute supreme authority, instead of being a slave in their system. And so, we've got the Constitution to thank for that. The Constitution is the real thing that has saved the Commonwealth, because they can't get rid of the Constitution unless 2/3 of the majority of the Commonwealth was to have a referendum and say that they wanted to become a republic, which is what they tried to do. And if we had become a republic, then we would have been totally corporatised. Because the Australian people were sensible enough not to accept a republic. We are still under the Constitution. The Constitution is now, this anniversary, 125 years old, and it is the thing that has saved this nation. And Australia is blessed by having this Constitution, because it is really can't be dissolved by anybody except by the people. And so, today is a great day for the 125th anniversary, and this anniversary is, I think, going to be the reawakening of people to the Constitution and their rights. If you don't know what your rights are, then you don't know how to defend them. And it's a maxim of law that he who doesn't assert his rights has none. Right? So if you don't know what your rights are, if you don't know your history, if you don't know your heritage, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know where you stand, whether it's in the corporate or in the Commonwealth, in the corporate as an Australian citizen, or in the original Commonwealth as a Commonwealth national, if you don't know who you are and where you stand, then you don't know how to exercise your rights. And their system is all about contract, and also so anybody has the right to come out of their system at any time, and they until you show them exactly who you are and where you stand, they will assume and presume that you are in their system and you are acting the part of a slave in their system. When you come out of their system and back into the Commonwealth, you regain your standing as a Commonwealth national, and where the people are the absolute supreme authority. You can read that in Quick and Garrett. But the only way that's ever going to happen is when the people wake up to the truth, because the truth will set you free, and knowing who you are and correcting your standing is the only way that you can truly come out of their system and back into the original Commonwealth and regain your authority. While you're in their system, you are a debt slave, and slaves have no rights. When you come out back into the Commonwealth, then you have all your rights, and you can require remedy. And the thing with but while you're in their system and you're presumed to be one of their slaves, you have no rights. And as I said, that it's a maximum.
The microphone stopped working. The microphone stopped working.
Ran out of battery. Oh, right.
Resuscitated. Just like the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So, this system, has, we have been indoctrinated, we have been lied to, we have been deceived, we have been listened to their propaganda, and everybody has been programmed to believe that this counterfeit look-alike Commonwealth has authority, when really they're acting under the colour of authority. We have been programmed to believe that their law is the real law, when in fact it's the colour of law, and it's not what the original Constitution and our law is supposed to be. Our law is supposed to be under natural law, universal law and principles, divine law, common law, English imperial law, English common law. When we say common law, we've got to distinguish exactly which law it is, because they have a counterfeit copy of common law. And so when you say common law, they just believe that you're talking about their common law. But when you say it's English common law, then they know that they have to understand the difference. So, we've been deceived, and the only way that the people are really going to be able to re-establish their authority is when people come out of the corporate system, come back into the original Commonwealth, and help to restore the original Commonwealth. We have been working towards that end for the last 10 years, and we have been setting up the original Commonwealth and coming up with all the things that people need to do to let them know, to put it onto their public record about who it is that you are, so that you can change jurisdiction. And we're also doing an electoral roll for the original Commonwealth, so that people can go on to the original Commonwealth electoral under the proper Constitution. So I invite everybody to look into this, and to it's a totally different way of thinking to virtually how everybody else is doing it. It's a totally different approach, and there is nobody who is doing it this way. Unless we've all been programmed to think in a certain way throughout the years, and this is a lot different to how we've been programmed, and people need to wrap their head around that, that they are actually the the authority and the government is supposed to be there as a servant and not as the master. And that we've got to get it back to being the original Commonwealth, and where the people are the authority and the government is there as a public servant to serve the people, not to rule over the people. And in Revelations 18:4, it says, "Come out of her, my people," and that is really what we have to do. We have to come out of this corporate system and back into the original Commonwealth, restore our birthright, right? So we're all born into a nation, and when you're born into a nation, you have a natural born allegiance, and we have to restore that allegiance. At the moment, while people are in the corporate system, they presume that your allegiance is to the corporate. And there's virtually two empires in this world. There's the Roman Empire under Roman law, which this corporate system is, and there's the English Empire, which is under common law and natural law and imperial law. And but they are really the only two choices you have in this on this earth. Other than that, it's probably Sharia law. But they are the worldwide law which the world runs under, and everybody needs to be able to decide which world it is that they actually want to be in. And everybody's got freedom of will, freedom of choice, and everybody needs to be able to choose whether or not they want to come out of this corporate system and re-establish the original Commonwealth and be the absolute supreme authority, or stay in the nanny state corporate system and be ruled by Caesar. So I just hope that everybody can see the truth about what the Constitution is, that it is our founding document, that it is our source of authority, that it is of the people, for the people, and that the people can come back to the original Commonwealth and restore the original Commonwealth so that we can restore our rights, the law, and how it was supposed to be. And on this 125th anniversary of the Constitution, this is our founding document, and people have to realise how powerful this document is, and that we, the people, are the authors of that, and therefore the authority.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you, everybody.
We have a few questions. I've got one for Keith. Oh yeah, sorry. Maybe we should have got you a stand or something on the camera. But, one of the questions that came to mind was to enable this true Commonwealth electoral an election. We can't use our birth certificate, passport, driver's license.
Just answer that again.
Okay, I'm trying to work out a good way of asking this question, but and I might know half the answer because I've listened to Keith before, and that is, how do we use the Statutory Declaration Act to 1911 to come out of the corporate system.
Yeah, well, what we're doing, see, we have virtually established the foundation of the Commonwealth, and now we've done that through a few different processes. First of all, I claimed the office of the Accountable Authority for the non-corporate Commonwealth entity, which is in the Public Government Reforms and Accountability Act. I've been in that office since 2015, and we have created corporation sols. Corporation sols are under common law, they're not under Roman law. They are actual Commonwealth offices. We have the Office of Record. For anything to be seen or heard, it has to be recorded. Otherwise, it's if it's not on the record, that it's not seen or heard. And the Statutory Declarations Act 1911 is an actual Commonwealth Act. The Statutory Declaration Act of 1911 is actually a Commonwealth Act, and because we can't, what we are doing is we are having the original Commonwealth electoral roll. Now, anybody who was born in the Commonwealth has a natural born allegiance to the Commonwealth and is eligible to be on that electoral roll. Anybody who was born in a British Commonwealth country, because they have also have an allegiance, they are eligible to be on the electoral roll. People who were not born here, they would need to first of all do a nationalisation, go through the nationalisation process, which we have, and be accepted by two people that were born into the Commonwealth. We have to do it by statutory declaration because we can't accept a driver's licence or birth certificate as identification, because that doesn't identify you, it identifies the legal person, and it's a fraudulent document. And so we're using the Statutory Declarations Act 1911, and in that act you are under the penalty of perjury, stating that you have a natural born allegiance to the Commonwealth because you were born here. And by doing that, in the Statutory Declarations Act, it says that all government departments have to accept it, and so therefore we can put you onto the electoral roll as being eligible to vote in the original Commonwealth, and so the idea is that it'll be recorded in the office, in the Commonwealth Office of Record, and everybody will go onto the electoral roll and onto the record, and that will also be your identity documents to show your nationality, that you are not an Australian citizen, that you are a Commonwealth national.
How big do we need to make this roll for it to take effect? I mean,
we don't need everyone involved. All we need is a fraction of the population.
what fraction?
Probably 10,000.
No, well, the more the better. How long is a piece of string? Like, really, we're on Starship Enterprise here. We're going where no man has been before. And how long is a piece of string? I don't know.
Uncharted waters.
Yeah, and when it's going to happen, I say it's going to happen in divine time. When it's supposed to happen. When there's enough people awake to realise that they have a choice. I think what we've got to do is go on an education program of that people actually have that choice. People don't know that they have that choice. And everybody has the right to be fully informed about which system they are in and which system they can choose to be in. But most people don't know that they have a choice.
There's a growing number though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The last couple of years.
And it's going to grow bigger if people start putting it out there that they do actually have a choice.
Well, the exodus must be promoted.
Yeah. And so, I mean, people don't know that they even have that choice yet. And that's what we are doing, is we're going out and we're telling people that they actually do have a choice. But it's only them that can exercise that choice. Everybody's got freedom of will, freedom of choice, and it's up to everybody individually to choose which system they're in.
And where do they go to make that choice?
Well, Commonwealth Custodians is it's virtually the autonomous community of the Commonwealth. And by joining that, that's virtually your first step in to coming out of her. And then we have things in there that puts it onto their public record that you that you are a Commonwealth national. And we're just starting with the Commonwealth electoral roll. That'll be hopefully up and running very shortly. And all these things are putting it onto the record, and putting it onto the record, see, like, unless you put it onto the record, they don't see or hear it. And so, but we have things that they have to take notice of because it's on their public record. And by doing as many steps as you can, the more steps that you do, the more you unbind. The more you unbind, the more recognised you are and the higher you're standing within the Commonwealth. And we also need people to occupy offices of the Commonwealth. We have the statutory declarations for the electoral roll have to be witnessed by Commonwealth Justice of the Peace, and we're appointing Commonwealth Justice of the Peace because we need people to witness all these documents as they do it.
So
And
Commonwealth Justice of the Peace is different to a normal Justice of the Peace?
yeah, well, at the moment they're corporate Justice of the Peace.
Yeah.
And these are Commonwealth Justice of the Peace. And these are actual ones that do actually have authority. And you start out at level 3 as a Justice of the Peace, and that's witnessing and certifying documents. Level 2 is that you'll be writing writs and warrants for Commonwealth public officials. The Commonwealth public officials will be, they are in the Crimes Act. They are the ones that can prosecute. They are the ones that can take it into. We will be having our own courts because their courts are corporate. We can't go into their courts. We will have our own Chapter 3 courts under the Constitution, our own justices, and a Justice of the Peace level 1 is a court of competent jurisdiction as a court of summary jurisdiction. So a magistrate's court. But then you can have 2 Justices of the Peace and a jury of 12 nationals. That is a full court of record.
Court in Western Australia, the Commonwealth Court. Can you elaborate on that? Do you know about
No, I don't want to comment on anybody else's, what everybody else is doing. What I am doing within the Commonwealth. These officers are actual Commonwealth officers. What everybody else is doing, I don't care. Right? So but I know that these are actual officers, actual Commonwealth officers, and they actually do have authority where the others can claim it, but can they prove it? Everybody, they've got to be able to claim. Every office has to be able to prove their source of authority. We can do that, and it's got to be traceable back to the Commonwealth, and everybody who is in a Commonwealth office must do an affirmation of allegiance according to the Constitution, and they must do an oath of office. So, whether or not these have done that, I don't know.
When do you think the officers, the courts will start operating?
Again, how long's a piece of string? When are we going to have enough people to do that? We don't have enough people to do. As soon as we get enough people, then we can start doing things. Until we get the people to come out of the corporate and start coming in and participating in restoring the Commonwealth, it's not going to be restored until the people start doing it. The people are the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth will not be restored until the people come back into the Commonwealth.
So I've seen you on Stop the Rot Sack the Lot and also Jody Lowe the other day, and Jody Lowe made an interesting comment, and that was that in the previous election there was in the millions, it might have been, I'm not sure these exact numbers, could have been 2.6 million people that decided not to participate, but in the referendum, thankfully, around 4 million people chose not to participate. Do you think that the reason for that is that they've had enough?
Yeah, well, people are realising that these. I don't know whether it's just that people have fed up and they can see that it doesn't matter who they vote in. It doesn't matter if they vote in the left or the right. It's still the same bird, and all you're doing is you're voting in a globalist government, which is a corporate government, which is not the original constitutional government. And it doesn't matter who you vote in; it's still going to be that government, and that government is doing the will of the UN and not the will of the people. And the people are fed up with what they're doing, and our natural resources being stolen and given away to corporations.
So does anyone else have any other questions? It's quite quick.
Yeah, that was the point I wanted to bring up. How did that happen? Oh, sorry. Yeah, how did the globalisation of our resources happen? What was that? You explained it earlier, but can you go over that again?
Yeah, what's that?
Sorry, just repeat the question.
How did the takeover happen, but eventuating in the corporate Commonwealth?
Yeah, the corporate Commonwealth. Well, they in 1973, Gough Whitlam and Barnard held every portfolio for 2 days, and what they did is they rewrote all the statutes, and they also put in there the Submerged Land and Seas Act, submerging the land so that we're all on the holy sea of commerce, and they also put us into Unidroit. And what they did is they took out the Crown out of all the acts, all the statutes, and they replaced that with their counterfeit lookalike. And
they took out the Commonwealth and replaced it with Australian government.
They replaced it with a counterfeit lookalike. And so when they did that, what the counterfeit lookalike is a political society under the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. Under Section 1, you'll see that in Section 1 of the International Civil and Political Rights, that the people are free to choose their political association. And when they do choose that, what they do is they come out of their organic nation and into their political society. And while you're in their political society, you're in their sandbox. You're playing with their bucket and spade, and it's their creation. You know, they created this political society in 1648 at the Peace of Westphalia. It's actually called the Westphalian system. And in 1999, in a speech by Tony Blair in either New York or Chicago, I can't remember which one, Tony Blair said it's the post-Westphalian system, and now we're going into the globalist system. And so so that whole system is the UN, the World Banks, the
IMF, yeah.
the IMF, everything, you know, and that's the system that you're in under this International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. That's what people have joined. They've joined that political society. They've come out of the original Commonwealth, which is a moral person, and into this legal person, which is what they've created. And under the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, under Section 2, it's virtually saying that, you know, when you do this, what you're doing is you're agreeing to give away your natural resources and your natural wealth so that it can be distributed around the world. And so when the people chose to be in this political society by signing up with Medibank or Social Security, when people gave away their rights to the Commonwealth of their nation.
It's a carrot on the stick, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so the people went into this political society and got the benefits of that political society, which was Medibank, and they gave away everything else. So it was like getting a bowl of porridge for all their birthrights.
It's a great question, James. Can I add an answer to it? And that, from listening to Dick Yardley, said that as soon as it was created, it was pretty well attacked, and what he calls the timeline of treason happened over a long time to take away from what was established. And a lot of people say that what was established was, in fact, a trading company. That's something else to be talked about. But what it gave us was our soul. So the attack against all of our souls really came about with the first Pope in 60 AD. He decided that he owned all of our souls, which is, obviously anyone with common sense would know that's complete BS.
Unio Sanctum.
Unio Sanctum.
And then they crystallised it with 1302, in Unum Sanctum, which is another good one. But the Constitution, our original Constitution, there were people. It was so hard to get in. Henry Parkes was like, it wouldn't have happened without him. He was the driving force, the great bloke who got it together, and who they were and what societies they might have been part of. That's not for me to speculate on, because I simply don't know. But I would imagine that they were probably all Freemasons. However, it gave us something which is good enough that we want it back. We don't want to be treated like chattel. We want to be living men and living women. Does that?
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, we've given away our birthright, which is the under the Constitution, for a bowl of lentils. And we are the authority, and the natural resources belongs to the people. But because people went into this political society, they gave away the natural wealth of our nation, and we don't receive any of that wealth. Where's the royalties? Where is everything? We've just been bled dry by this corporate government. They have stolen our natural wealth.
We should be lighting our cigarettes with $100 bills, mate.
Should be. Australia should be the richest nation in the world with all our mineral resources and whatever else, and it's all squandered, stolen, and laundered throughout their societies and corporations and whatever else to bring in their new world order. And so our natural resources have been stolen from us, and the people aren't any the wiser even to that.
You been with and communicated with the original people of the land, and are they supportive, or how are they coming about what we're trying to do?
Well, I've been working with a lot of the originals since 2015. I went to the centre to Alice Springs and met up with the lawman there and explained to him all this, how it all happens and whatever else. And I explained to him that the originals are 260 odd tribes. They are not a nation, and this whole earth is run under nations, under the law of nations. And I told him, about what we are doing, that we are restoring the Commonwealth, which is the people. It's not the land mass. It's not the geographical location. It is the people, and that. But the only way that the originals can really claim the land back is if they were to become a nation, and he agreed, and he was trying, but he told me, what the problem is that a lot of the elders, it's only the elders of the tribe that have the authority to make any decisions for the tribe, right? So it has to be the elders that make those decisions, and a lot of the tribes around him don't speak English. He's got to tell everything in a story, and he, as far as I know, tried as much as he could, but it just never came together.
Who's he?
It was Albie in Alice Springs.
If I could add, there is the original sovereign tribal nation, I think it's called, that did had for many years done that sort of initiative you're just talking about, and I can't remember now the number of tribes.
Hundreds.
What was it?
There's hundreds of them.
No, that's right. But they actually signed up to be part of this original sovereign, and we also could. I at the time became a member, but I'm not following it in detail. But there is some precedent to assist in that particular category of the sovereign nation, original people's sovereign nation. There's various, but specifically that original sovereign tribe.
I believe you'll never get unification because all these tribes they're all sold out by GovCorp.
Yeah.
They pay them out. Yeah.
Yeah, so look, I've tried. I'm a member. Yeah, I'm an adopted member of a tribe, and I've tried to unite to try and get the to find out who in each tribe is the authority that can make these decisions, to bring them together. I've written also as the Commonwealth trustee, I've also written up a document that would compensate the original people. I've given it to them, never heard anything back. You can't do anything if people don't do anything. And you know, the going walkabout, I think it's just we can't really do anything about their nature. That they go walkabout, and you ask them to do something, and it just never gets done. And if they won't stick at it or whatever else, there's nothing I can do. I've tried.
But surely, like the rest of us, it's one person at a time.
Yeah, well, it has to.
This is not about bringing groups of people on board.
Yeah.
It's about one at a time.
Yeah, and the
That treaty they done down there, where it gets it up here.
yeah.
Where it gets it.
Yeah, and like we have individual in Commonwealth Custodians, we have individual.
Yeah.
But that's the only way that we can do it. You know, we the people of the Commonwealth, which is everybody who was born here.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be. Yeah. So what they are trying to do is divide and separate.
Yeah.
They are trying to get the corporate is trying to get the Aboriginals to virtually say, undermine the Commonwealth by claiming the land that you're this and that you can do that or whatever. The Mabo judgment was in the corporate, it wasn't in the Commonwealth. You know, they're dealing with the corporate, which is the UN,
Yep.
and they're virtually undermining, or they're working with the corporate.
Yeah.
If they are promoting anything in the corporate, then
Well, that's what that voice to Parliament referendum was all about.
they're participating in the corporate, and if you're participating in the corporate,
Yeah, but it's only a minority.
yeah, and they're not the elders of the tribe.
No.
And so,
we can ignore them.
yeah.
And move forward with the individuals.
Yeah,
One at a
that's how
time.
it has to be. There's only two empires on this earth. That's the Roman Empire and the English Empire, and there is no third option.
Yep.
And so you either want to come out of the corporate and back into the Commonwealth, or you stay in the corporate. That's the only two options there is.
Yep.
There seems to be some trickery by GovCorp to confuse the English Empire with the British Empire. Can you talk at all about how Britain came out of the United Kingdom?
No, well, the real confusion is that the English Empire, when people talk about Britain or England doing things, a lot of times they're talking about the City of London, and the City of London is not part of England. The City of London was in 1 AD a Roman fort, and it's a sovereign state, or a sovereign city-state, and it's like the Vatican. The Vatican is not part of England, Italy, sorry. The City of London is not part of England, and that's where the Crown Corporation is. The Crown Corporation is the one that is the counterfeit crown. It is the East Indies Company that went around the world, and they had ships that looked like English ships. They flew the English flag. they had a mercenary army that were in redcoats, and they looked the same, and people didn't know the difference. So when they were talking about atrocities happening, it wasn't the British that were doing it, it was actually the East Indies Company, which was virtually impersonating Britain around the world. And so, you know, it's been going on a long time, and you know, but you know, the truth will set you free. Once people know the true story about what's happened to us, and they are able to have a fully informed decision about which world it is that they choose to live in, then they have freedom of choice. But at the moment, people don't really have that freedom of choice because they only know the corporate world that we live in. It's like Plato's cave. In Plato's cave, there was prisoners that had been there since very long, and there was they were chained up so that they could only see the wall in front of them. They couldn't see behind them, and above them and behind them was a raging fire, and it was casting shadows onto this wall. And there was a pathway in between. There was people carrying statues or you know, maybe horses or something or other going through, and these prisoners, their world was what they saw on that cave wall. That's all they ever knew. And then one day, one of the prisoners escaped, and he came out, and he saw he saw the fire, and he saw the shadows being cast onto the wall by these images, and he thought, oh, that the images on the cave wall isn't the real world. This is the real world, the fire and the images, you know. And then he found the way out to outside, and he realised, no, well, that wasn't the real world either. You know, this is the real world out here. And he experienced the sun and the air and the water and the trees and everything else, and so he'd experienced that, so he could understand it. And then he went back into the cave and tried to explain, you know, these other two different worlds to the prisoners, and they thought he was mad because they couldn't imagine that in their mind because they've never had anything like that. They've never had that experience. And that's the sort of the predicament that we're in, that, you know, the cave wall is we don't have a cave wall, we have televisions, magazines, newspapers, and everything else, and we are trapped in that corporate reality.
Yeah, delusional reality.
Yeah, it's a delusional world.
How would us unincorporated ourselves individually with interactions with the corporate government and you don't big policies, would it have any effect at all? Say if the police put us
Yeah, I've found a little bit harder. I think you're talking about, yeah, when you unincorporate, we've had people who are on pensions, who are on invalid pensions, on everything else. It never affects anybody badly. It only is ever good. Unincorporating, we've had people who have had their driver's license who they had been disqualified 6 or 7 times, had a driving record as long as their arm, completely cleared. We've had you know, people go into hospitals without a Medicare card, and then they gave their name to, they were treated like slaves to begin with. They gave their name, and when they gave their name, they got treated like royalty. So See, when you're in the Commonwealth, you are the authority. Yeah. And it's a matter of, it's a maxim of law that he who doesn't assert his rights has none. And if you don't assert your right to be known as a Commonwealth national and not as a slave, then you're going to be treated as a slave. So, yeah.
I'm not sure this is related, but like agreement is smashing our rights. So I'm thinking like, is it a legitimate tactic to go to New South Wales governor and ask her to sack him?
That's what Monday Mag is, bro.
Sack him Sundays.
Well, when we did the trust, we did the trust, and the Governor General received the trust, and they had the opportunity to refute our right as the people of the Commonwealth to be able to do it. They had the opportunity to refute the trust that it was wrong, or that it was invalid in any way. They also had the opportunity to present a higher claim than ours, and none of that happened. And so the trust stands in law and in fact. And the Governor General is virtually the Governor General of the corporate. They have no authority whatsoever, and the Office of Commonwealth Trustee and the Board of Stewards are virtually the only office. There is no office other than the King himself, and so we're operating under the trust now, and there is no Governor General of the original Commonwealth of Australia. There's only the Governor General of the corporate Commonwealth.
So does that mean that the Governor General is not operating fraudulently?
Now, they've been operating fraudulently ever since they've taken the oath to the Queen of Australia, which was a fraudulent, fictitious queen, and they've been taking that oath. So when anybody has been taking that oath, they've been taking the wrong oath.
And interestingly, in 1960, the Governor General somehow got appointed without letters patent. So that, is like another sort of quasi step in that timeline of treason.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, where it's straight up, they admit that they are a political appointee, which is unconstitutional and unlawful.
Well, that's when they pretty much lit the stove, like the analogy of frogs in a pot. And they gradually, slowly, as they turn the heat up, the ones that escape are saved, and the ones who are oblivious to what's going on, they get fried.
It's like putting the frog in a pot and slowly heating it.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to the Australian people. That it's happened over such a long period.
Yeah, since 1960.
Yeah. Oh, it's been happening even longer than that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What year do you think it all began?
Well, 1648 at the Peace of Westphalia, when they came up with the concept of these belligerent sovereign states that are these corporate entities that are around the world today. So,
But in Australia, probably as like 1903 at least, maybe even before then, they decided to create political parties and all that sort of thing. Not in the Constitution.
Oh yeah.
So
in Australia, they lit the stove back in 1903 or something.
yeah, well, in 1919, that was the first time they signed as a belligerent.
1919.
Yeah.
Okay,
At
so
the Peace of Versailles, that was the first time they signed as a belligerent. The belligerents are this political society.
that was when the Great Boer War was on, isn't it? 1919.
No, that's it. World War I.
treaty of the site.
Yeah, but they've been wide-handing it since day one. I mean, bringing in the blue ensign, like the people's flag. The people wanted the Federation flag, and they brought in the blue ensign, which is their war flag.
Well, a lot of the Eureka Stockade flag, that's very popular.
Yeah, well,
That's very popular.
the Eureka Stockade flag is part of the Federation flag.
Yeah.
That the people wanted in 1900.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We wrap it up. Wrap it up, guys. No other questions? Thank you, Keith. Does anyone else want to talk?
Where we can all have great information exchanges, challenge each other on facts and evidence, and just want to thank everyone again. Originally there was probably a dozen of us, but now there's 2 dozen, so it's great.
Hey, mate.
Come on, photo.
All right, Teresa.
Come on.
There you go, brother. Yes.
Come on in.
Keith, you go.
Get in there.
You're on candid Canberra.
Get in there.
Carmen.
Welcome to those who aren't as well.
Come on.
Smile. 3, 2, 1.
Say sexy.
And okay, and Liz got another one.
Come on.
Come on, come in the photo.
Ready? 3.
You're with us or against us?
Smile. 3, 2, 1. Go. There you go. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
If everybody wants to meet back